ma se resume electron.
Happy holidays! I've got a gift for you. Buy 4 tarot readings or coaching session gift codes in any combination, and you'll receive 2 additional gift codes too. So use all 6 codes for yourself or share them with friends and family as holiday gifts, stocking stuffers, or maybe even birthday presents. These don't expire, so you can feel free to use them and share them throughout the year. Merry Christmas, and thank you so much for being my friends. Hi there, Capricorn. This is your weekly reading for the week of December 28th through January 3rd. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. I hope everything is going your way and that you're getting excited about 2016. It is going to be amazing for you, Capricorn. You're going to see so many changes that I believe at the end of next year, you're going to say you don't even remember what it was like to be the old you. You're going to love it. So just right from the get-go, have total faith and confidence that everything that needs to adjust will, and it will all work in your favor. Guarantee that. Monday, the card that you've drawn is the Two of Wands, and this is a card that indicates you start off the week at least, although astrologically a quiet day, that you feel a sense of some new enchantment, changes, potentials, and possibilities on the horizon. You don't know what is coming, but you feel excited about it, almost as if your adventure mode is starting to wake up again. Maybe it's been dormant for too long, and now you're ready for some new, different, and some excitement. I think that you're going to really like this year. It will seem kind of odd at times, and maybe you'll feel a little fear and trepidation. And remember, there's nothing to fear but fear itself. Very, very wise words. Tuesday, we have the Queen of Wands, and she represents, of course, a fire sign female. She could be Aries, Leo, Sagittarius, one of those rising signs, or she may just come across with the traits that we would commonly associate with a fire sign. So this could be a female, and it could also be a very feminine male. And this is a person who is very energetic, a real starter, a go-getter, an initiator, and an activator. She can be very, very creative. And if this is that part of you that is being reawakened, embrace it. There could be somebody near you. If you're a male, and this applies, that female would be on the radar of people who might intrigue you, not necessarily in a romantic way, but just in general. You know how we can meet people at the grocery store checking groceries, and they say something that sticks with us, and we think about it for a while, and we might say to ourselves, I can't believe I heard at the check stand such words of wisdom from a person I might never have expected. Well, this is the kind of person we're talking about. Tuesday, we start off with the Sun in Capricorn, your solar first house, for the purpose of this reading, which of course would be even much more accurate for a person who knows for certain with their accurate birth time that they are a Capricorn rising. Always try to make sure you've got that information. And if for sure no one knows exactly, you might want to Google, research or maybe employ somebody to help you with the chart rectification so that you can get close. It's kind of a process of elimination. It is not an exact science. It requires a lot of honesty on the part of the person who is the querent seeking their birth time, and also a lot of intuition on the part of the person who is helping you to get this information. Think about it sometime. It may be something that you actually want to know, and the only way to get that information would be if it was written down somewhere, like in the records that the hospital give out, usually as a novelty. They will create a kind of birth certificate with footprints, that kind of thing, and they will list it by hand. Also, if you have a birth certificate, your real copy, okay, so the one that is issued by the county or something such as this, depending on what country you're from, it will be listed there. But if you have a copy where, say, somebody had to get a copy of a birth certificate to go to the DMV or to do something like this, you might just get the abstract, which is not the one that's going to have the birth time. The abstract is just basically pulling the pertinent data for the purpose of what you're getting a conformed copy for, usually with a purple stamp in the United States, at least in California, I can tell you that. And then to get the copy with all the details, you probably need to specifically say over at your local vital records or when you contact them or write to them that you need the birth time. Okay, so that's what you're looking for. It is always helpful just to know, because some people will be like, well, I listened to this and it just doesn't resonate all the way. It does and it doesn't. Depends on what they say. And then I have to explain, then your rising sign is probably what you don't know, and or you need to listen to that first. So we have the sun in Capricorn, as I said, your solar first house, for the purpose of this reading, sextiling Neptune in Pisces, which is your solar third house of communications. That is also the location of the South Node. And whenever we're talking about the South Node, you can say that it is similar in its effect, like what we'd think karma to be, or limitations like Saturn would imply, which to you, you love this thing, because Saturn is your ruling planet. And, also we could lose energy here, become somewhat trined, in the sense that we are trying to incorporate so many things that we can't really do everything with the most clarity. So the reason why I suggest that is going to be apparent here. But Neptune in Pisces could be in the effect that we have the South Node retrograde at this time there, and Chiron, and the Centaur Nessus. We have the potential and we have the opportunity to see things clearly. And if anyone in the zodiac is able to see things clearly and without a hitch in their giddy up, it is Capricorn. They really like to be practical and realistic. So anything too fantastical, fluffy, an oversell, case of ShamWow, the way I use my examples left and right, is where you guys just, you don't do this. It doesn't cut it for you. It's just not secure enough, practical enough, and maybe not even realistic. So this opportunity is for you to harness and consider that there is a situation that may be more and more apparent to you this year, most likely in the area of career, where you are feeling that this is just not going to work out for you. This doesn't excite you. You really need to find something that really motivates you from a level of passion so that you can feel good about doing what it is that you love to do. And for those of you who are still working and not yet retired, an example, that becomes somewhat of a catch-22, that you need the paycheck, you want the good paycheck, but then you're thinking, wow, I remember what Rita said, I'm really not feeling this anymore. How do I follow my path, stay true to myself, get my paycheck, and then follow my passion? This will become more apparent to you if you should so be inclined to accept the opportunity. Now, considering also that we're going to see issues related to what could be an elder, a relative, a parent. It really could be an aunt or an uncle, but, think one generation above you. And there could be concerns with their state of mind, their clarity of mind, or how do I take care of this person effectively without draining myself? How do I come up with the logistics and communicate this and maybe if it's required to get a general consensus in the family, how do I deliver it with sensitivity? Think about it, because there isn't an impending sense of emergency. This could also be an issue, I suppose, with one generation down. So maybe your children, but I would think less so. And if so, you may be more than likely more concerned about their education. Maybe it's just not on track for what you envisioned, and you're trying to find ways to motivate them to seek what motivates them, what causes them to feel passionate about life. Now, Mercury in Capricorn, again, your solar first house for this purpose, squares Mars in Libra. Libra being your solar 10th house of career. I believe that this is where, again, you have the ability, almost uncannily so, to see that you're trying to communicate what you need and feel you would be best serving the company to do. Maybe you really do need a reassignment. Maybe you already know that you're not doing what makes you excited, and therefore you think your productivity is lessened. And I would agree with you. If you feel that way, trust me, I've been there so many times. It was like when I worked a stint in banking, I just thought I was going to die. It was interesting, and my Virgo rising made the accounting side of it attractive, but I was too young to stay focused, and there were a lot of other somewhat consequential characteristics about me because of my age that I really didn't know how to reconcile, and I had no one to guide me in this. But you have guidance. There are people like me out there just speaking it to you. But I believe that you're going to really say, you know what, here I am trying to communicate this, and it is not being heard the way that I am speaking it. It's almost as if they infer something that quite opposite to what you're saying, or maybe you just don't feel confident enough, which will come to you as the year progresses. You will see how much more confident you become in stating what your needs, what your opinions are, where appropriate and where applicable. Obviously, sometimes, we don't have the ability to say, hey, look, I want you to reassign me to this detective squad. And they're like, yeah, we're the ones who make those decisions, but you may really feel passionate about this. There could be also a fire sign woman who's very helpful at listening to you and can see the action plan with you. They're able to see a trajectory that's more fitting. But again, keep it slow, wait it out, because we've got Mercury in your sign getting ready to retrograde. It will move into Capricorn, then it will go back, it will move into Aquarius, and it will go back. It'll only make it 1 degree into Aquarius. It'll hang out there until about the 8th or 9th, and then it will go backwards and have you rethink this, reanalyze this, reconsider this, restructure this, go back to the drawing board with this. So I would just take it slow, and I would use the energy for exactly what's paced the best for someone like you. Slow and steady wins the race. No need to rush through any of this. On Wednesday, we have the Two of Cups in reverse. The Two of Cups in reverse is talking to us about an obvious incompatibility of some sort. So this could be with relatives, almost inability to see eye to eye, perhaps in that sense of how do we care for this elder, or, pardon me, I'm so sorry, just a moment. Sorry about that. I had to figure out what my dogs wanted to say to me. So here we've got this general incompatibility, and at the same time, this is where great adjustments can be made, which end up helping the both of you see through this. All right, so we'll talk about this more in a more specific reading to romantic affairs, but we could see two people realizing that they're just not the right match. Or sometimes we can get stuck thinking over and over about a relationship that is decades old, failed decades ago for some of you. And I would invite you to think back to 85, 86. This is where I would see the beginnings of these considerations, almost setting stage, for what this could be in a romantic sense. But I don't want to overfocus here because it could convolute what I'm trying to streamline for you, as inconjunct as that sounds, right? So the Two of Cups here coincides with Venus in Scorpio, semi-squaring Pluto in Capricorn. So here we have Venus in Scorpio, your solar 11th house of friendships, group associations, the people that you hang out with that you met at work or you work with, or one person that you see as a friend, or some other type of partner energy. This square to Pluto in your own sign, in your first house for this purpose, tells me that there should be a level of consideration here. Am I really feeling it with this person or this group of people? Am I caught up in a group of people that are focused on the negative aspects of their past relationships, and thus I am embodying these? They're sticking to me like Velcro. And this totally reminds me of a birthday party I was invited to, and I was bored. I don't remember why. I had nothing to do. I was like, yeah, I'm going to go with these people that I don't know. So we go to a Mexican restaurant, and it was wonderful. And apparently because I wore the red jacket, that meant I was going to stand at the end of the table and say something. Don't ask me how that happened. Those of you who were present, if any of you were, you know what I'm talking about. What I realized is that though the focus could have been on helping this woman who was going through the aftershocks or after effects of a difficult divorce, I was in the middle of my divorce, but I just wanted to be happy and enjoy myself, and for all of us to feel positive and uplifted. And it turned into a man-hating fest where there was every level and degree of bitterness. And it reminds me of somebody that, I want to be careful with the way I put this name, but the best friend of a very prominent political family, she and this prominent political family member, I felt that the most prominent one needed to just continue to move forward, and I think she did. But her best friend, who was an acquaintance of mine, was holding her back. Let's bash men. Let's talk about my old experience. Let's write these books. And I was like, well, I didn't write my book because I told my former attorney from the legal aid, who I wanted to benefit with a lot of these analyses, to call them something, during my divorce, or what the results were. I didn't do it, and I told my attorney I was so sorry. I really wanted to get money to this group, because long story. Anyway, and so then this other acquaintance was saying, write that book, write that blog, do that thing, tell them how you feel, angry, man-hating, bitter. And I was like, holy shit, this is exactly why I didn't do it. And this is really where you could find yourself in the company of people, and you might be thinking, wow, I really don't resonate well with these people anymore. Maybe they think I'm fine, but they motivate me to talk about my ex. I'm done. I'm trying to forget it. I'm trying to move past it. The universe really is telling you, Capricorn, whether it flopped, failed, sunk, whatever happened to it, it's time to let it go. And if there are people associated with on the peripheral that are holding you back in some way, then I believe you need to make sense of the idea that a transformation could be irritating, but where you can't see what it is, where it is. If you hear me out on what I just said, I'm telling you that it has to do with groups of people, friends. Maybe the group is one person, friend, who shares a common interest, if you will, group. And it's about this ex or this past situation, this past hurt, whatever this is. It's very much 11th house. It's really not even touching that 12th house yet. So I believe the best thing to do is say, well, here we go. I'm going to let this thing flow right into my 12th house, where I can make better use of recreating or reformatting or restructuring, repackaging these attachments to the past. When Venus moves into Sagittarius, your solar 12th house might be easier to do. And tell yourself you're going to make a commitment to yourself to transform yourself in this process so that you can continue to follow your path. Whether you find it, seek it, search it, create it, you can't do that if you've got ball and chain that belongs to you, that represents the past and all of its defects, which were really inclined to get you to this point, which really were the tools and the experiences to get you to this point, so that you could let them go and really emerge as the butterfly, if you will, that you were meant to be. So it could be anything from relationships with your siblings and family members and a cantankerous parent or the lack of them, and you were adopted and or fostered, and then having to restructure this to say, wow, I see the beauty of it. I am becoming who I am meant to be on my own terms, on my own ticket. These are my experiences. I came in to this world with a perfect path, exploring it, understanding it, may have had its highs and lows. And in the end, in retrospect, in hindsight, I see that they were what? Experiences. This is an experiential plane, if there ever was one. This dimension is very real, very heavy, very tangible. In fact, it's so real, sometimes it wants to yank my ass to the floor, and I'm just going to get stuck there, and I may have to push up real hard or grab onto something to pull myself up. I don't even want anybody's help. I'll just find an inanimate object, a hypothetical object, and I will pull up. That's what you're doing here, and I see great beauty and transformation in it. I'm excited about your year, Capricorn. I truly am. I like it. I think you may want to kick me a few times during the year, but you're going to see at the end of the year, wow, I actually like what this turned out to be. Trust me on that. Trust yourself and your higher power that it is what I'm telling you, and what you dream, what you create, what you want it to be, you really can make it that way. And look, slow and steady wins the race. Are you kidding me? Capricorn is the master at doing things by the book, so Saturnian that there is no failure once the lesson is basically understood and easy to detect, which is why we're all together. All of us from different nations, places, considerations, and persuasions. We're here to help each other one way or another move forward. Thursday, we have the Page of Pentacles in reverse, and you may be feeling a little intimidated about your income as it relates to your job. And if you are retired, it would be your concern that you are not sure that you'll be able to manage your finances to get through whatever periods of time. Don't worry about it. It will all work out. There could be great financial breakthroughs, especially for those of you that want to return to work in some way, whether it is volunteer and that fills your time, therefore fills your coffer with good experiences and lots of positive karma, lots of dharma. This is really where you could find your way, and thereby almost peripherally creating more prosperity as you go. It will almost happen automatically as long as you stay out of what, I guess I should redefine that, staying out of the karmic and moving into the dharmic. You will get what you need. You'll have what you need. Don't fear, because when we fear and when we worry and the anxiety presents itself, which is a natural function of being a human being at this time in this place, then you need to remember that the best thing to do is to say, wow, anytime I need something, the universe provides it. Every time I've had a conundrum, a confusion, someone or some situation creates the opportunity for understanding where they didn't feed me the answers. I learned it. All they did was nudge me in the right direction or give me some hints or clues. So you will see that you will do very well in this way. Here you are on the precipice, on the new moment of a calendar new year. Hey, look, you got the new year coming up in terms of the Chinese New Year, and then we're coming up with the spring equinox, so we're going to be going into the new beginnings of time, when it's time for Aries to have their birthdays, and spring is about to spring up everywhere. You'll see that all this newness is coming to you. Now, Venus in Sagittarius, at this point, your solar 12th house of the quiet, of facing your fears, of the monster in the closet, of your insecurities, of the past, of past life associations, if you swing that way, of your early childhood experiences, of your early childhood conditioning. Venus here will help you see things in a different approach, and a sesquisquare or sesquiquadrate to Uranus in Aries, your solar 4th house of home and family, is where you say to yourself, oh gee whiz, something has to change here. Something about this environment, this living experience, the home life, who's in this house, who I brought in, who I live with. Something here needs to alter. So with the sesquiquadrate, this is very much like a semi-square in that we're really not sure where it's coming from or where we're going with it. But once you put your finger on it, which is my job to help lead you, point you in the right direction so that you can discover what the journey is in this message, you'll see that action is what will resolve any conflicts. And so having this angle in a location, this aspect in a location that represents the home and represents your 12th house, this could be telling us that you need to basically step away. Look at this again. Let Mercury move into Aquarius. Let it go retrograde. Let it step back over, cross over its steps, rediscover your considerations 2-3 times, let it be. And then make a decision about how there is some area related to your home and living situation and environment, could relate again to those interactions with the elders, maybe the children, could be aunts and uncles. You could see how this fits in, where something needs to change in order perhaps to not enable another person, or to no longer enable yourself with some massive safety net. That home in some overly, I had the word just right on the tip of my tongue. Overly secure, something too conservative. Maybe you need to go out on your own. Say you still live at home with your parents and you're feeling like it's time, or your parent lives with you and the care, because of this indication that there could be mental health issues. Maybe this has become too much for you and you need to understand that you need to put the person you love so much into a much better place for their better care, for their own safety, and perhaps, Capricorn, for your own sanity. You know what I'm talking about here. Friday, we have the Hanged Man in reverse, and this is where inaction is the order of the day. The Hanged Man in this position on Friday, on January 1st, is talking about a beginning where it doesn't feel like one, but hey, isn't that what Mercury retrograde's for? And they're going to be in earth signs, I believe, all of them in this year. They don't necessarily stay there, stop there, but so you're really setting up the message for the rest of us in terms of what kind of adjustment energies, what are we going to be rethinking, re-communicating, restructuring, what kind of practical considerations are you, Capricorn, helping us all to employ on the broader scale as it relates to the experience of Mercury's retrograde motion, which I know it gets irritating for people. I'm a Virgo rising. That's my ruler of my rising sign. You have no idea, so it really could be a thing where even though I'm a Scorpio, it still is like, boom, the older I get, the more over-analytical, over-analytic that Mercury retrograde. So here you are setting the tone that we need to have practical considerations, even in the mercurial sense, where we're thinking about not just the way we think, but what are we thinking? Not just the way our thoughts are formed, but how are we employing the energies of those thoughts? We also have Mercury right there, bam, moving into Aquarius, taking one step forward in 1 degree and sitting there, kind of like watching the pot that never boils. And here we again have the pre-Mercury retrograde shadow intensified. Definitely not the time to be messing around with contracts and agreements unless these have already been vetted out at some point, or if you have a particular situation that is connected to a prior retrograde. This is a little complex work, but for you practitioners of astrology and others who are advanced, you'd know that you might be looking for timelines that go way back to see how this is affecting you now and what these decisions are. But in general, since I can't see your chart, I don't know your natal astrology, your natal horoscope, I should say, that you just need to be very careful about what it is that you're doing. Make sure you leave yourself wiggle room. Let me just give you a hypothetical. You are putting your dear mother into a home because she needs a little more supervision than you can provide. And because you're getting nervous with having people come into your home to provide care, it hasn't worked out. So now you're reviewing contracts and things. And I would say to leave a clause that says that when you agree to this, you can at any time get out of it month to month. In example, if somebody won't work with you in that way, that at any time you can rescind the agreement and effectively sever that agreement, then you probably have the wrong place. It should be fluid. If they're good, if all their reviews, If all of their Better Business Bureau ratings come back perfectly, they should feel confident to say anything. We're just here to do our job and to help you. Of course, we need to profit from this because this is how we feed our families. But at the same time, we want you 100% comfortable. They won't be trying to sneak anything around you. And I would be concerned of any kind of situation that doesn't involve at least some releases and or contractual responsibilities on both sides. Keep that in mind. That's what I'm talking about here. So it doesn't make it where it's impossible to work with these things. Just remember, Capricorn, that even with the gift of practical considerations that you're giving us all for the year 2016, thank you. It's very grounding, very helpful. Remember also that we have to be able to understand that there are considerations we don't always think of. So we do want Mercury to slow itself down and to show us where we need to retrace steps. Even if it is a do-over every time, so what? That's less margin of error each time. So just keep that in mind. On Saturday, the 2nd, we have no significant activity in the heavens. We have the Page of Swords. So the Page of Swords is telling you to watch those contractual responsibilities, watch those fine print articles, those fine print, the verbiage, look at what the clauses are. I don't care if you have to take a magnifying glass out, they are not going to hurry you. And if they rush you, trust me, you're at the wrong place, in the wrong line of work, about to apply or accept an agreement with a company. If you need your paycheck, you need your paycheck. You do what you have to do. But I would say beware of things that lock you in because these considerations need to be more fluid. We need room to explore, contemplate, and to do over, rework the plan. And so these are necessary and very, very helpful energies as irritating as it could be, as irritating. These are the ways that we catch those things that we go, oh my God, if I had not taken my time, if I had not said, let me just think about this and give it another 24 hours, I would have agreed to this. I wouldn't have seen it because they just said, sign here, sign here, sign here, sign here. And then I was like, whoa, 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 whoa. That's a lot of initials. And the print gets smaller and smaller each time. So just be on the lookout for these things. You may feel a little defensive at times. Some of you, of course, we are all different and our horoscopes are not the same. And yet at this time, I think that it really is speaking more to the commitments that we need to be very careful with and to make sure that nobody tricks us, right? Case of ShamWow. Here we have on Sunday, the Queen of Cups shows up. And how appropriate. Mars moves into Scorpio, your solar house, 11th house of friendships, of the group associations, even of the income, your salary, for if you work from your profession or chosen profession. Doesn't mean that people at home who are homemakers or otherwise do that job, the most important job of all, trust me. And with the children, remember, hand that rocks the cradle rules the world. And so in this case, we have Mars entering a place in your life, a sphere of influence that will help you make better decisions about the people that you associate with, the people you work with, who you will and won't hang out with, which is under review, as it appears, and even give you the energy to move forward and say, hey, look, you treat me like crap every 5th Sunday, like clockwork. You just are rude to me. I don't care if you're on your period. Stop. Okay, so you'll get some assists there. Again, this week, don't be too aggressive because we don't want to burn bridges just in case, but you don't need to sacrifice yourself any longer for anybody that doesn't help you or at least treat you fairly or with the spirit of kindness. You know how sometimes we've got frenemies in the groups of friends and we sometimes think, why is this person inserting him or herself into this group of positive people, and what are we doing with this person who for 4 years now is just negative Nancy or negative Harry every single time? These are the considerations that the Queen of Cups will help you make. She could refer to a water sign, Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces, or a rising sign, or she just appears to be mystic and watery and intuitive and psychic or just emotional and nurturing. Okay, so she's going to help you see through these things. This could be a part of yourself that the universe is asking you to acknowledge. Of course, she's a female here. She could be very feminine male. You know how that all goes. And so here you are given the opportunity with Mars moving to Scorpio to see things more clearly. Give it time. Enjoy the ride. Mars is here until March 5th. So there's no need to hurry anything along. And again, we're still under the veil of the Mercury retrograde intensification. And with that said, my friends, I want you to remember something. Even if you realize, I got a clean house, no more boyfriends like this, or no more friends who are no better than enemies, no more associating with people who yank me down, make me feel bad, or who even remind me of the past. I release it, I let it go, I free it up, I blow it a kiss, and I'm ready to start all over again. Look in the mirror and tell yourself this before the stroke of midnight, wherever you are in the world. Right there on New Year's Eve, tell yourself that you value yourself, that you are going to take care of yourself now. That doesn't mean you won't take care of other people, but remember to look at yourself and say, it's about time we release the past and all of the ghosts associated with it, because it is time to be born again. God bless you, and I'll be talking to you soon.